Real estate wholesaling. It is the true way to get paid with little to no cash, no credit, and zero risk. But how does it set up? How do you set it up? How does it work? What are the moving parts? How do you link up the end buyer with the seller? What documents do you need to use? So today I would like to go over all those moving parts with you and further explain to you, you don't need to have a bunch of equity to do a real estate wholesale deal to assign your contract. You know, you can do wholesaling with or without equity. So I'd like to show you how to do that right now. Greetings, class. It's Kris Haskins with therealestateroundup.com. My mission is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. In doing that, I want to make sure that I set you up for success when you get out there in the marketplace. So Roundup family, don't miss coming up very quickly. You got a few days to register for the early bird special, my foreclosure summit, February 13th. Make sure you join us so you're going to be able to find foreclosures, how to locate them, how to close the deal, how to bid, how to do the title search. What do you do if there's a tenant or squatter in the property? The markets are on fire and it's only one way to go. Down. So the foreclosure summit is going to show you how to buy a house at the auction, how to go up there, win the bid. And also my book club. The first book club session will be today at 6 p.m. So make sure you get registered for that in the link in the video description below. I'd love to join you because my thing is this. I want to push you to read more. I didn't start reading until I was 28. And our first book is going to be Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the updated version. It's going to be cool. And if you need some type of financing for real estate or any type of business, Fund and Grow, we partnered up with them. We are approaching 2.8 million in business credit lines for my Roundup family. Once again, that link is in the video description below as well. If you need financing, see how much you qualify for. Okay, real estate wholesaling. Real estate wholesaling. What is it? Well, all real estate wholesaling is when you get a house under contract, you get a property under contract with the seller, right? And then what you're going to do is sell your contract to an end buyer for a fee, of course. You got to get paid. You got to get paid. So I remember starting off real estate wholesaling back in 2004. Things have changed a lot. But the question was, when I was doing this starting out, I'm like, how in the world do I link up the end buyer, the cash buyer, with my seller? That's what we're going to get into right now. So you've been out there, you've shaken the trees. You found this smoking deal, right? Let's just say the ARV is $100,000, right? This is going to be a high equity deal. High equity is, generally speaking, what most people consider real estate wholesaling. Let's say you got a house, it's worth $100,000. ARV is the after repair value. And you get it under contract for $50,000. Your contract right here is for $50,000. You sell it to an end buyer for $60,000 and you collect $10,000 in the middle. You collect that $10,000. But what are the moving parts in this thing? And what are we doing? What actually are we doing in the real estate terms? Because remember, real estate speaks through black ink on paper. The spirit of real estate lives with documents. I love it. It's really cool. So you get your house under contract. Here's you. You are in the middle between your end buyer and your seller. You are the glue that makes this happen. So we're going to go over how to do it high equity or little to no equity, or even negative equity, if you will. So you've got your standard purchase and sales agreement. And what I will do for you, because I love you, I'll put a link in the video description. You can have for no charge. I'll give it to you for free. My real estate purchase and sales agreement and my assignment, how we're going to link up the cash buyer to the seller. All right. So the contract assignment, what are we doing? We are assigning our contract to this end buyer for a fee. That $10,000, walk away, get that fatty, going to the bank, feels real good. All you're doing is shuffling paper. It's crazy. But I want you just to keep note here. If all you do is shuffle paper, you'll be shuffling paper to the end. You never really own any assets. So real estate wholesaling is a tool in the toolbox, but I don't want it to be your only tool. So what we're doing, we're assigning our contracts. So let's get your bearings book so you can understand exactly what's going on. You know me, I like to break it down So a 2-year-old can understand this, because that's how I felt when I was getting started. I felt like I was a 2-year-old back in 2004. Your Barron's book, I'll put a link for that as well below. And if you want all my other books, just go to chrishaskins.com and you can see my other suggested reading. An assignment is the method by which a right or contract is transferred from one person to another. Contracts commonly assigned include leases, mortgages, and deeds of trust, and in this case, a contract, right? So you're assigning your contract to that end buyer. Now, who are the moving parts? Who are the players in this assignment, if you will? Well, when you sell your contract to that end buyer, you become what we call an assignor. An assignor. What does the assignor do? Who is the assignor? A party who assigns or transfers an agreement or contract to another. So you've done your magic, you've located your seller, you got that house under contract, right? There's you linked to your seller. You're linked to your seller with this contract. And please keep in mind, we don't use the word contract when we're negotiating with sellers. We use the word paperwork or agreement. Okay, we don't use contract. Don't use that. Contract, don't do it. All right, so you are the assignor. When you've done your marketing, you found an end buyer. Now, when you want to assign this contract over, you become, you step out of the way, and this new buyer steps into your shoes as the assignee. Well, let's look what that is. Talk to me, Barons. The person to whom an agreement or contract is sold or transferred to, right? So you no longer are the buyer, which you were here. Now you are the assignor and he is the assignee, right? So he is stepping into your shoes. So this agreement here is called a contract assignment. And I'll read over one in a few seconds, where this document links up your original purchase and sale agreement, linking up your end buyer to you so you can get your check. Now, you might have to rewind this because it may take a little time, because I used to think, how do I link up the buyer, the end cash buyer with the seller? How do I get my money? Who knows the payment? Who do they make the check out to? So many questions. I remember trying to figure this thing out. And it was a nightmare when I did my first one. When I walked into the title company, I remember I had a buyer. I had a house under contract. I was going to buy it, but then somebody approached me and they were like, Kris, I think I have somebody that might want to buy that house. I'm like, you know what? I was going to do it, but all right, here you go. So I walked into the title company and I'm like, we want to sell this deal to this guy over here. And the guy was like, looking at my contract. He goes, well, all you have is a contract to buy. What are you talking about? They didn't even understand what I was trying to do. So the spirit, remember I said real estate speaks through documents. So I went back, got all my documents and my paperwork put together. And then I walked back into the title company and I said, can you close this? And I just shut up. Man, you talking about magic. They looked over it, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Kris, we can, come on in. So I went from as Dan Kennedy says, an annoying pest to a welcome guest. So let's look at my standard contract addendum, and you can download it below for free. This addendum made on blank date for the sale of real estate of address, legal description, parcel number, bind between blank, the assignor, that's going to be you as you turn into the assignor, and blank, the assignee, it's going to be your cash in buyer. The assignor, that's me, agrees to assign all rights to purchase the attached contract to assignee. They're going to fulfill this contract. They are going to step in and close your contract. So you have to show your contract to the end buyer. There's no holding back on that. All right. You're going to have to show it to them. All right. Here's the magic right here, guys. For a fee of blank, whatever fee you want to charge them, payable as follows. Listen real close. Blank due at signing, leaving a balance of blank. So generally speaking, I get $1,000 when I gotta do this, $1,000 or $2,000 from your cash in buyer. How many times round up have I not collected a non-refundable earnest money credit from a cash buyer, and then they just drag me out. They drag me out. I'm like, oh, when is he gonna close? When is he going to perform? Get you a non-refundable. Non-refundable credit. That's right, non-refundable credit that will count towards this addendum. The remaining balance due at signing, leaving leaving a balance of blank, whatever your balances should be, payable on or before blank. That date needs to be specific. It needs to be, you do not leave dates out. Real estate has to have a date when you want your cash buyer to perform. Assignee shall close original contract on or before the date. The original earnest money deposit shall be refunded to assignor at closing. That's us. You want to get your E&D back that you put down to buy the property. If assignee doesn't close, here it is, y'all, original purchase contract or pay remaining balance by the date, this addendum and all option for assignee to purchase shall be expired and all deposits shall be forfeited. Let me tell you what happened to me so many times. Oh, Lord. I would get to the date where my guy was supposed to close on it, right? My in-cash buyer. He wouldn't close. Leave me out there. I'm like, hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, we're supposed to be closing. What's going on? Dragging me out another week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I want to get my non-refundable that he put up, right? I want that non-refundable. So this is going to allow you to say, listen, from now, after this date, you no longer have the right to buy. You no longer have the right to buy, right? Because people will drag you out, y'all. They'll drag you out to the end of the day. And then if you try to sell it to somebody else, they'll say, if you don't say that this contract is expired, they'll say, hey, I still got you on the contract. You know, and then it just makes it a nightmare for you. So that's wholesaling with high equity. And now let's get to properties with low to no equity, even negative equity. That means they owe more than what the house is worth, right? So let's say your property has no equity. You got same ARV, same deal. ARV is $100,000. But they owe $95,000. Now, let me tell you, up here is going to be limited. The majority of your leads and deals that come in are going to be down here, little to no equity. Up here, let's say it's only a small percentage of people that even have enough equity to give you a piece of. The majority of America, they don't have any equity, right? So this is where we live. This is where I live. I love it because a lot of people don't like living here. ARV is 100, they owe 95. So the main things we're concerned about with wholesaling little to no equity houses are the monthly payment and the condition of the property. You got to know these two. Let's say the monthly payment here is $800. We could possibly pass that on to another end buyer, right? Let's say the house is actually okay and you can live in it. What we would do is negotiate either a subject to, a seller finance, or a lease purchase to buy it. Here's our contract. All right, this is called creative financing. And if you want to get into some more creative financing deals, I'll put a link here. You can go to some of the other ways that we buy houses other than high equity, because high equity is only one, right? I remember when all I understood was high equity deals. Kept me real limited. One tool in the toolbox. So you negotiate your contract. Subjects to is where we just take over the payments. Seller financing, where the seller turns into the bank. And then lease purchase, where we have a lease and an option to buy, right? So did you know, after you set up all these creative strategies here, you can then wholesale that too? You can wholesale that off to another buyer, right? You can get your check. So let's say you have become the master negotiator. You know how to negotiate a seller finance or a subject to or lease purchase. You wrap it all up, get your contract looking real sexy, but you don't want to keep it. Same thing. Here's you, contract. It's just not for a bunch of equity. It is for the terms. Remember, real estate has two wheels, houses and money. Houses and money. What if you were to negotiate the house and you're negotiating the financing, the monthly payment and what they owe? You own both of them. You have the right to buy both of them, right? So you're assigning that over. Now, the reason we can assign this stuff over, the reason we are able to do this is because we have equitable interest. Equitable interest. So what is that, Kris? What is equitable interest? Aren't you portraying and getting paid by not having a real estate license? What? I have equitable interest. And let's see what Barron says that is. You're able to sell. You're able to sell your rights. Equitable interest is the interest held by one who has agreed to purchase but has not yet closed the transaction. Equitable interest. That allows us to sell our interest in this property or that contract to a third party. Okay, so don't feel bad if you're out there getting houses under contract. In essence, you are the buyer and you can sell your right. You know, people sell all types of rights. And don't forget, if you have a loan on a property, do you know that those lenders sell those loans each and every day without even asking you or even barely letting you know after it's done? These lenders do whatever the hell they want to do, and then they come at us like, you can't do that, you can't do this. So round up, lenders are selling notes. Your note on your mortgage might be with Bank of America. Next thing you know, it's with Wells Fargo. Next thing you know, it's with Regions Bank. It could be with a local credit union. They move them around all the time. Why can't we move our rights around too and sell them if we want to do that? Same game. You're stepping into the ways of the rich and wealthy, y'all. So no to low equity. Our main things we're concerned about is our payment and condition. If we can take over these payments and make it work with a sub-2 seller financing or lease options, pass it on. Pass that contract, but you got to become a master negotiator. Round up, listen, we're passing 75,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for letting me pour into you. Subscribe, hit that button, hit the bell too. I look forward to seeing you at our book club this evening. Like this content, smash that button and share with any other investors that are interested in getting paid in real estate with little to no cash outlay, no credit, zero risk. This is how you do it. Real estate wholesaling. You're going to have to get it. A lot of moving parts in real estate. It's Kris Haskins. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.